Howdy, y'all. I hope you and your families and your friends, your close ones, in these strange times are doing well, staying wise to the world, and, well, generally not getting jabbed, paying attention. This video was inspired by my new buddy, Snow Global Pedo Cult. Him and I have had a few conversations over the phone, and it was this video, The Best of Hans Wormhat, that inspired this video in particular, because he goes into the fake animals that Hans talks about and the things that you can obviously see about how they're fake. And the one that in particular that really pushed this forward, I mean, all of them do. Animal abuse in general is prevalent in this world in so many forms, and this is just one people aren't as aware of. But the fake animal abuse is heavy, it's real, and there's plenty of evidence for it. So, in pop culture, just to iron out the idea and to make sense of this, there's a pretty well-known book by H.G. Wells, author of The Time Machine, called The Island of Dr. Moreau. And this book details an extremely wealthy doctor living remotely on an island, experimenting on various animals, making them chimeras, putting various parts together. And if I recall correctly, it starts with a encounter with a gorilla. The main character encounters a gorilla-like character, so it fits right in with their MO. Gorilla obviously are fake animals, likely people in fursuits, and not to be featured here, of course, because drunk people in fursuits, pandas, gorillas, orangutans, that's not animal abuse. That's obviously satanic programming, evil, just pure evil. But the essence of this is The Island of Dr. Moreau is about vivisection and performing all sorts of surgeries to put animals together, and it's a pretty screwed up concept. And yeah, I recommend you read that book if you want to delve into the darkness. Another example of this is a more recent video game called Mother 3, which interestingly has never released in America. I'm not sure what its status is internationally, but the themes in Mother 3, again, largely relate to this chimera aspect. So here we have a moncolorous orangutan-looking body with a walrus head, and I'm going to contend that both of these animals are fake. The two animals put together here are fake, and this is just them laughing at us or stating the absolute ludicrousy of our world. Australophant, I mean, you get the idea. And then interesting to note that the the evil faction in this game are pigs, and that's a very common theme in media, to have pigs be an evil faction. And also the relation to humanity and the notion of the hybrids that we're aware of. And I think it's eerily related to all of this, in the sense that a pig mask can be representative of the pure evil vessels in this world. People that were born into this club and are taking vengeance on people that are not in the club. I think that is a clear parallel. And then also, furthermore, you have the trans aspect, where the angel-like force in this game, they're all free martins in drag, as you can plainly see. They're called the Magypsies, so magic gypsies. And yeah, just look at this imagery. People claim this is why the game hasn't been released in America, but who knows? Could be a plethora of reasons. So let's get back to the topic at hand, now that we have the introduction. So the animal that he emphasized, Snow Global Pedal Cult emphasized, was the zebra. And quickly, before we get into this, just to show this isn't totally out of the blue and there's other people doing this. Amazingly, not more people doing this. It's really sad that there's not more people on this adventure doing the same thing, because we need more people talking about this. It's evil. But yeah, if you want to dig into this, I recommend the Animals Are Fake playlist right here on the He Is Our Light channel. Details a lot of the animals I'm going to go into today, and it just shows you that there's other pieces of evidence out there. Watch the video, see what you find, make your own determinations. Nothing I'm saying here is pure truth. It's just speculation, and I want you to read into what I'm saying and see what you come up with, and then hopefully we can build a community and ultimately save these animals from their abuse if possible. I think we can do it. So back into the zebra, right? The zebra is a painted horse. There's plenty of imagery like similar to this. RFTK Ohio has multiple videos with images of paintings of people painting, Free Martins painting horses just like this. So I think they're telling you. And it gets ingrained at a young age. There's not many animals that start with Z. So here's this fake animal that comes in, and it's this big representative of this word. It's often used on Noah's Ark, and it's a blasphemous creature. It's a made up circus act creature. And the main reason you can tell, so let's actually dig into the zebras themselves, is if you look closely at every zebra's snout, it's never all the way covered. Every single one. You can look at any picture of a zebra, and they'll always have striping, but never all the way up to their snout. And that's because, okay, let's say this is body paint, so maybe it's like non-toxic to your skin. I guarantee the fumes, just the irritation, they're not going to bring it too close to the nose because it would greatly harm the horse, maybe even shorten its life. But I mean, the fact that they're doing this, is it purely just a shout out to the club, the black and white duality? You also have penguins, anything black and white, pandas. Those are all highly contested animals. You have the Puffin Literature Press. I believe puffins and emperor penguins are fake. I think there are penguins, but I think that there are species of penguins that are just outright fabricated. And here, I think you have a real animal that's painted and is ashamed. I think so. I do have a personal story with this, but we'll look at some more images just to emphasize the point that, yeah, the brown nose, every single one. And then obviously, another thing you'll notice, not obviously, but another thing you'll notice is if you look at these zebras really closely, you'll see that even in their skin, it's like some of it's faded, some of it's brighter. And you can imagine this is a serious process. This is somebody's craft, and their job is to paint these horses. And you have the images of the elites. You think of the what are they called? The Rothschilds with their horse-drawn carts, their zebra-drawn carts, right? So I think what they have going here is they paint them all the way up, and they flare their mane. Whether they do that via gel or just special combing, maybe light gel. I don't know how they do it, but Hans often says in his videos that zebras are often far away, and I gotta say, this is leading into my personal story. Up until recently, zebras were always far away from me. Whenever I was at a zoo or something along those lines. However, I went to a zoo in Torrington, Connecticut called Action Wildlife, and they have zebras there. And I actually got to pet one. Came right up to the fence. Nobody else was around. A couple families were like further back and whatnot. But I remember, we're telepathic, 100% telepathic. And we have interconnections with all the animals of the world. So I was experiencing the zebra. I was in the zebra's presence. I was petting this animal, and I could feel the shame. That was the main emotion, that I refused to put his head down. Refused to put his head up, and just had this look of shame on his face. And I think that's because they know, obviously they're painted, and it's just a disgusting thing that people do. And maybe it doesn't have that much of a health impact, but either it does or it doesn't. It doesn't want to. A horse doesn't want to be painted every day or every other day or every week or just really at all, I don't think. And what I think, there's more evidence into this that I've gathered here. So, I mean, you can look into the arch of the back here of the zebra that you see if there's like something consistent. Because what I want to get into is this little piece here, where you have horses, donkeys, and mules, right? And what I contend is that zebras are generally considered smaller. This one looks like it's just straight up a horse. This is a big horse that they've painted. This isn't your standard zebra that you see across media. Obviously, it has no mane. Um, but generally speaking, as you see, zebras are smaller than like the average horse. So you hear about horse breeds. I'm not a horse expert, a equinologist by any means of the imagination, but I know about fillies and how fillies are smaller horses. Or you could have a mule that you paint. Donkeys, I don't think that there's any donkey zebras, but I wouldn't put it past them. I'm sure they've done it. I'm sure we have all sorts of zebras, and they aren't afraid to tackle any of them in the equine family. So, one digging into the Wikipedia of zebras and whatnot, the name is Pan. So we know Pan is often related to the devil. Um, it's black and white stripes. Everything's backwards, animal, and painting is just evil. This is maybe them just kind of showing you, just giving in to the secret. This is it's partially painted. Some of it's worn away. Or they just painted this portion and they're still working on it. And they're arrogant enough to have the bricks behind them, masonry. We're making this animal. I mean, how evil. I mean, you can just feel the energy. Just cold, distant. I mean, you're being propped up as a circus act. It's just sad. And yeah, I mean, horses, you can look at them and it's a big joke to them. Not horses, of course, but the people doing this. And big connotation with zebras outside of the letter Z is fruit stripes gum. There's Zubba's pants. They're just a big popular culture evil thing in my opinion. And I think that we need to stop painting horses. It's evil. So let's get into another one. Let's talk about the walrus. Now this is an interesting one because it's I think it's like similar to an elephant seal, if not an elephant seal, but they just added the tusks. So I think that's the only thing that's unique about this here. I think a narwhal is kind of a similar thing, but I don't even think that. I think narwhals are all just fake, like taxidermy, CGI'd. Like this to me looks like they just added these phony little tusks in there. So whether they're doing that, I don't know how they're doing it, but it's got to be uncomfortable. Whether it's just like a kind of like cinching or glue, even would be really messed up. But it's the same idea of messing with an animal. We have that notable Beatles song, "I Am the Walrus," where they say, "Cuckoo, cuckoo, I am the Eggman." I am the Eggman. I am the walrus. And that lyric is so weird to me, but I think it's rooted in something. I think it's just the notion of the walrus shape. So here we have the popular culture Eggman character, and look, he looks like a walrus. He's got the big walrus mustache. It's a clear reference to the Beatles song, and I think it has to do with these Free Martin like walrus-looking dudes with mustaches. They're chunky, mustachioed people, and that's what you have here. So then to dig a bit deeper, looking at Eggman. Okay, Eggmen. Think about it. Like they produce eggs as men, quote unquote, Free Martin. Um, you have the Mr. Seahorse kind of idea here. It's the Eggman thing. And digging into the actual, like just searching of walruses on internet and whatnot. So apparently it's in the Arctic region. Greenland is a very dubious place. I mean, it's maybe like plain speak. It's there was a military tactic and Greenland is actually cold and Iceland is actually warmer, so that was a military tactic to make it confusing for invading forces. But Greenland's a dubious place. And then you have all this numerology, right? So I always push the sevens and 11s. I think these evil people operate using sevens and 11s. Hence the gas station. I think it's the only gas station I can think of that's just numerology numbers. So here we have the average length being 2 to 3.5 meters. So 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 5 is 10, 6.6, that's 12, and then 115 would be 14, 19, 19, 21, let's see, 24, 29. That's an 11. So if you just add up the whole average length, all those numbers there, you get an 11, right? Okay. So that's a 711, right? And then this one particularly stood out to me, kind of just to show you that the numerology is like really tight. Okay. So 800 to 1200 kg, right? So 8 plus 1 is 9 to 11. Okay. So just in kg, you have the 11. Average length, you add up all those numbers, you have the 11. Now, if you add up 1764, 8, 14, 18, and then 2646, you get 8, 12, 18. So the other notion about this, oh, you're so crazy about the numbers, right? You have the 11 consistency, and then you have the pound consistency of the 18, which is clearly one of their favorite numbers, a big age for being an adult and wherever you are in the world, 18, graduating high school, and then also the 666, 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. So that's a number. That's one of the numbers outside of the 711 coding that you'll see. It's not a factor of those things, but you'll see it a lot. So weird numbers there. And then digging further into the same web page, listen to this. There's more crazy numerology here. So male walruses are sexually mature around 7 years old. Okay. Interesting. 7 years old. Okay. Females are sexually mature as early as 4 years old. What is 7 plus 4? 11. And then it's also just the 7. Males are 7. 7 to 11. I'm telling you, they put these numbers everywhere around their nonsense. And they hold that for 8 years. So pregnancy lasts for about 15 months, 75 kg, 165 pounds. Mother nurses can nurse their young for over a year, and calves stay up with their mothers for up to 5 years. Let's see. And then this one I thought was really indicative of the club activity as well. How long do walruses live? Walruses generally live to be about 20 to 30 years old. Okay, the way they wrote that, 23, 20 to 30, have been known to live as 40 years. As a big separation there, so I think the numbers to consider. If you're like a Mason, you're coding, you're gonna make these pairs, right? These 22 to 30, 20 to 30, right? So then, literally on the next section, this is just why it's like there's too much coincidences. There's too many coincidences. Look at this. How many walruses are there today? Largely unknown, but estimates put the worldwide walrus population at 230,000. So 23, live to be 20 to 30, 230,000. A little bit ridiculous, isn't it? And it's an estimate. I'm telling you, these estimates are literally just coding. They're not doing any deep studies. And obviously, it's a fake animal, so it's complete farcical, just shitty behavior. So, and then, yeah, of course, make a Pokemon about it. I think a zebra has a Pokemon. I didn't bring that one up, but yeah, Pokemon's a big, pushes evolution, and it's a stage, another stage, a digital stage, a way to reach people with these fake animals. So walruses aren't real, just fantasy. And these animals would be fine if they were just told as fantasy, but no, we gotta have the concern about all these animals, especially because they're all endangered species, because you won't see them. Most all of them are endangered, or they don't leave their locations, or they're rarely seen because you don't see them because they're not real. So another walrus character, we have Theodore Roosevelt, just the walrus idea. Another FTM, likely a breeder, this kind of notion of a walrus. So then, digging deeper, I guess we'll just go right up the list here. Here we have the toucan, and Hans has a great video on a toucan trying to eat a banana. So I recommend you check that out on the He Is Our Light channel. But yeah, I mean, this is the standard Toko toucan supposedly, and it just looks off. It looks fake. This one, I think, is straight up just taxidermy. The eye looks so fucking weird. I think it's just orange coating, heavy orange coating, and black and white. It's an ultimate 2-for-1, kind of like the Emperor Penguin, orange and black and white. Are you kidding me? It's puffin. They have all the coating there. Toucans, I think they're black parrots. um, or other tropical birds that are given a prosthetic beak, just as RFTK Ohio explained. And obviously, like the walrus, very similar serious situation here. It's just messed up to abuse animals like this. I mean, we have vivisection, people working on mice, but this is just another layer of the evil. It just looks so fake. I mean, you really look at it, there's images of the person with the arm, if you look for it, making the toucan beak with their face, or person with the face making the toucan beak extension. There's just so much evidence of this, but I want to dig into what I found online, just digging through toucans, other types of toucans. So this one to me, it's called a toucanet, and this actually looks real to me, or maybe like it's a small beak prosthetic, but I think this one's actually real. Um, but yeah, the gigantic Toko toucan, the one like Fruit Loop toucan that we know, that's a total farcical animal, just a beak on the top. And what is it actually? Think about it. You're buying the toucan cereal and you're eating it's sugary, it's sugar shit. It's terrible for you. So it's terrible cereal from a terrible fake animal. It's just it's insane. These Satanists are just the worst, but they want to keep you going fast and not thinking about these things. So get out of their box, right? And then this one I looked at really closely, and I just think, you look right there on that edge there. It just looks like it very easily could be a prosthetic beak. Um, it might not be. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just look at that where that grin, where that smile, whatever you want to call it, where its mouth ends, and it just looks awkward compared to the beak. It looks awkward, and then the hair also looks awkward compared to the beak. It looks like there's a attachment put on, and this book is being. I mean, this bird is being put through hell. So just evil behavior. Um, and let's dig into. Oh, before we do that, yeah, make a Pokemon out of it, right? It looks pretty sinister, doesn't it? It's just weird. But yeah, make a Pokemon out of the fake animals. Keep the children brainwashed, right? So let's see if we can get to the first one. So talking about toucans, let's see what I found here. Donkey-like braying, so kind of like a jackass. Mountain toucans are known for jackass, like braying. Donkey. This is the gorilla joke. Donkey Kong, the video game character. Donkeys are often associated with clowns, so donkey-like braying is telling you it's a clown animal. Oh, here's what. This is why I chose this. The breeding behavior: toucans nest in cavities in trees, so think like an owl. In the presence of in the presence of suitable trees is a habitat prerequisite for toucans. For the most part, toucans don't excavate nesting cavities, although some green toucanets do. So something to note about them nesting in trees is like you're not going to see them, right? That's a big factor. Oh, they're nesting in trees, you don't see them. And I believe I have another little slide here that details that. Yeah, toucans are native to the neotropics. They mostly live in lowland tropics. For the most part, toucans are forest species and restricted to primary forest. They will enter secondary forest to forage, but are limited to forests with large old trees. So they're already limited to very special forests that have holes large enough to breed in. And there's a lot of animals that have ecological niches. I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying it's fitting that all these animals are hard to find. Toucans are poor dispersers, particularly across water, and have not reached the West Indies. The only non-forest living toucan is the Toko, the freaking toucan Sam, and that's the most obvious fake one. Um, so maybe that's the only fake one, or maybe a lot of them are fake, and you just really won't really see them. But some of the toucanets look real to me. So I'll say Toko toucan looks definitely fake to me, and I'm dubious about the toucanets. But at any rate, putting a prosthetic beak on an animal, and as you'll see in the RFTKOI video, if you're genuinely interested in this on the He Is Our Light channel, the toucan eating the banana is just an evil exhibition. So they claim that the beak is used for thermoregulation. 6, 11, or the 20, no, nothing there with numerology too much, but toucans bear. Most of these like phony things are made out of keratin. Keratin seems to be like the fingernails. The fingernails go long and far. I mean, it makes sense. It's the hardy material. Oh, here's the interesting bit. I remember. Let's see. Historically led naturalists to believe that toucans captured fish and were primarily carnivorous because of their large beaks and their serrated beaks. Today it's known they mostly eat fruit, Fruit Loops, and that connection. Um, but it's like it's also a lot of birds do eat fish and rodents. So like, isn't it convenient that they're not like diving in the oceans? Like it's one ecological niche that they don't like. And a lot of birds don't take over the ocean or bodies of water necessarily, but a lot do. So it's just interesting that they're so hyper specific in what they eat. It just um, and then the other aspect too is like it's saying that they ransack other birds' nests, smaller birds, so they're kind of an asshole. So fake bird, kind of an asshole. Um, yeah, I don't buy it, and I think it's animal abuse. And yeah, this one looks fake. I mean, it just looks fake. It looks like they took a parrot and they put this fake prosthetic beak. It looks so waxy, right there on the seam, right there on that black strip there. It looks so waxy. I mean, this I think is just a prosthetic. This one, just look at the hair. It just doesn't look real, especially the top of it. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. This looks like someone's art project, or if it is indeed real, it's a prosthetic beak and animal abuse. Very serious topic. So next one, I want to credit this guest speaker. I don't know her name. She's a wonderful person. She has a wonderful website called Stuff I Think Is Cool. And in one of her videos, I didn't find which one. I forgot which one it was, but she's addicting to listen to, and you'll definitely find it. She talks about how Tasmanian devils are. You don't hear about them anymore. They're what's the word she used? Not extinct. They're retired, or no, they're discontinued. That's the word. Discontinued, like a market product. Think about it like that. Like this is how evil they are. Weren't popular enough, or maybe I think the reason she emphasizes is that in the same vein as zebras, these are painted civets. So I looked up civets, and civets are pretty long. It seemed like most of the Tasmanian devils I was finding were a little bit smaller. So I don't think it's a standard civet. But what I do think it is this pygmy civet. It looks just like it, in my opinion. It's very, very close. So you look at that picture of that pygmy civet, and then this is I believe also a pygmy civet, and then that, and they look very similar. They're very close, and you have the black and white. You have the same idea for the zebra. And I don't have the Tasmanian devil. I should have. Oh, I forgot to get the cartoon Tasmanian devil. That's the big iconic character, brainwash the children. And it's a devil, right? There's the devil emphasis. It's like a devil's secret. It's a devilish animal. I'm pretty sure the numerology at the bottom, you have the 18 pounds, um, 22 inches, that's an 11. You have a lot of 13 is another big number that isn't in the 7 and 11. Unlucky number 13, the missing 13th floor. 13 being the B on many hats. So, oh, and this is the specific thing I think that was most indicative of it being a fake animal on this page. The fur is usually black, often with irregular white patches on the chest and rump, although approximately 16% of wild devils do not have white patches. So 7, right? 16% do not have white patches. 7%, the 7 don't have them. So it's just insane. Like when you really dig into this, you'll find so many 7s and 11s with these dubious animals, these ones that make you question because of how ridiculous their attributes are and how they look. I mean, you kind of have an inkling at this. Like we have inklings at this. Um, and we got another 13, the length. So the 13 coding. Maybe this is how they do it. 13 kilometers per hour, 13, 652, 11 to 13. The males having an average head and body length of 13. And then females being smaller, 12, 5 and 7, 6, 10. Anyways, they can dig into the numbers all day. 13 down there too. 13 pounds, yep. It's ridiculous. They just little code stuff like this all the time. You'll just notice the same numbers popping up. And then, yeah, the interesting aspect is the hyena relation. And then I think they have the strongest jaws of any mammal, supposedly, or so it says in here. They have the like dogs 42 teeth, so that's a 7. And that 42 is a big number in general. constantly push Jackie Robinson. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy 42 is the answer to everything. You have the 66 pounds, 66 is kind of that idea, and the 3 right before it, kind of the 3 6's idea. And this is kind of just weird. Like, listen to this writing. It just makes it sound like some zombie creation. Dr. Moreau. The large neck and forebody that give the devil its strength also causes strength to be biased towards the front half of the body. The lopsided, awkward, shuffling gait of the devil is attributed to this. Because I can just imagine the Wizard of Oz, the devil, right? It's just this highly, like, cosmeticized person, right? It's this person who has made all these uh, amendments to their body, and now they're like this zombie, or not this, more like this Frankenstein-like character who can't walk right and is like this, like shuffling gait of the devil, of lopsided and awkward. Yeah, it just sounds like a fake, phony animal. It's not a genuine, God-created, highly intelligent animal. And all these animals are very strange. Like the whole notion of gorillas having tons of fur living in the tropics and not opening their mouths ever. Just obvious stupidity in them not having penises. This is another example, having this strange gait and then being very absent from the media the last few decades, even, seemingly. It's interesting to look into when these animals come into the fray. That's a good thing to look into. So let's just keep digging. So now this is a really interesting one, actually, because it's a kind of a two-parter. We have the platypus and the echidna. They both go together. They're both called monotremes, and the special characteristic about them is they're both apparently mammalian, but they produce eggs, like external eggs, like a reptile attribute or a bird attribute. And this is, I think, a big poke at just the whole evolution bullshit. Of course, I mean, all these animals are to some extent. And then also you have just a big farcical, like kind of like dinosaur, like made up character. Dinosaurs are now, they're half bird, half reptile. You have this here, like with the echidna, half, or even the platypus to some extent, where you have this kind of like, avian, I guess more with the platypus, with the duck webbed feet, and then bill, and then mammalian body, cross, and then you have the echidna, which is like the spiny hedgehog looking, produces egg, so male slash kind of reptile characteristics. So with the echidna, it's similar to the hedgehog. Maybe it is a hedgehog with some modifications to it, although I don't think so. It seems a little bit bigger. It has kind of an anteater look, and it is often called a spine anteater. So maybe it is just a baby anteater, and they've made amendments to it. Things to look into, right? And we have Knuckles, the echidna, as the big character to push from the Sonic universe, to push Sonic World, whatever, universe is a loaded term, to push the character, to push the creature. So let's dig into the platypus, which Hans has a video of the CGI looking platypus, very much so. I think this one's CGI. There's like no eyes. Look how like velvety the beak looks. It just looks like it's placed on. If this is not CGI, I have a pretty good idea of what this is. Look closely at the paws. Paws, I think, are the indicative trait of what this animal is being abused here, and I believe it is the otter, the river otter. It's like very much the same paw, and you can just imagine that face, that cute little face. They put a prosthetic beaver. Oh, sorry, no. They put a prosthetic duck beak on it, and then a prosthetic beaver tail, and it's just evil. And then they claim that the backs of the heels are poisonous. Like, it's just insane how ridiculous these creatures are. These two pictures, I mean, maybe on the left here you have CGI. I mean, it's possible. And then on the right here, you could have a really screwed up. I think in this one, they're so small that my guess is this is just like a prosthetic. It's just made up. This is just like a taxidermy situation. But yeah, the platypus, I think, in this situation is just an otter with this attachment, with this duckbill attachment, and then the fake beaver tail. And I dug through this a little bit. I have a picture of a beaver here. I just think the beavers are a little too robust for how the platypi look. The otter body, the otter paws, looks way more like a platypus than the beaver. So I think you have beaver attributes, but it's not a beaver. So really screwed up. Obviously, we have an otter here. You have a pretty big tail there. That could pass for a platypus. Maybe they put like a little extension on it or something. And then yeah, the duck bill, and then that's a platypus right there. And then the pretend, barbed poison heels. It's just ridiculous. So let's dig into some of the literature and see what we find, right? It is a challenge to study the echidna in its natural habitat. They show no interest in mating while in captivity. So there you go. This one is, I should have built up to this one, but this one is just asinine, right? So you've never seen them mating. It sounds eerily similar to the panda. Prior to 2007, no one has ever seen an echidna ejaculate. Okay, that's very specific, and all right, I'm still with you though. Okay, now you're getting weird. There have been previous attempts trying to force the echidna to ejaculate. Why are we doing this? Through the use of electrically stimulated ejaculation in order to obtain semen samples. This has only resulted in the penis swelling. You have some creepy free martins laughing their asses off right here. Some terminal high schooler, terminal child, laughing his ass off writing this. Breeding season begins in late June and ends through September. Males will form lines up to 10 individuals long. The young as echidna trailing last that follow the female in attempt to mate. So they're saying it's a 10-on-1 orgy too. During a mating season, an echidna may switch between lines. This is known as the train system. So they're basically saying this is a big orgiastic, part reptilian creature. It's just insane. This is someone laughing their ass off, making a farce. Okay, here's where it gets insane. It's even further down. Male echidnas have a 4-headed penis. Listen to this. During mating, the heads on one side shut down and do not grow in size. The other 2 are used to release semen into the female's 2-branched reproductive tract. Each time it copulates, it alternates heads in sets of 2. When not in use, the penis is retracted inside a prepudial sac in the cloaca. The male echidna's penis is 7 centimeters long. Okay, and this is kind of funny because I have another slide that shows that, or someone measured, or obviously not, but the average echidna scat is 7 centimeters long. So you're saying the size of their penis and the size of their poop is the same size because it's just nonsense. So when erect, the shaft is covered with penile spines. These may be used to induce ovulation in the female. The penile spine is similar to a cat, of course, but it just sounds like this hell creature, right? It's a challenge to study the echidna's natural habitat. They show no interest in mating while in captivity. No one's ever seen an echidna. Okay, so that's where I obviously took this from. All right, let's keep going. Anatomy. Okay, yeah. Echidnas and platypus are the only known egg-laying mammals known as monotremes. So both fake animals, I'm saying. So there's no egg-laying mammals. I think God didn't do that. I think God has distinctive categories, and it's not making these weird, dual, what do you call them? Chimeras. It's in the numerology here, right? The average lifespan of an echidna in the wild is estimated at 14 to 16 years. They picked that because that's 2 sevens in their little creative way, right? 14 is 2 sevens. It's a factor of 7. 16 is 1 plus 6 equals 7. So you have 7 to 7 years. Lots of 7s coded in the echidnas. When fully grown, a female can weigh up to 4.5 kilograms or 9.9 pounds. You want to do that all out. That's 4.5 is 9. 9.9, that's all together. 999, that's 27. 27 is the hidden 33. So I think that's why they have that there. You have the 13 pounds. Male can weigh up to 13 pounds. All these numbers continue to repeat themselves. An echidna's sex can be inferred from its size, as males are 25%. 2 plus 5 equals 7. Am I convincing you yet? Could have been 26%. Could have been any, No, they're running with the 7s heavy on this coding. Yeah, 25 degrees Celsius down there, another 7. There's just too many. Like they'll split them up a little bit, but there's so many 7s. It's too much. Um, and then even here, if you often pair up their things, they'll like have ranges. So here, for their size, the longest recorded lifespan for a captive echidna is 50 years, with anecdotal accounts of wild individuals reaching 45 years. So 45 plus 54 plus 5 is 9, plus 5 is 14, 2 sevens. It's insane. It's insane. 59 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 sevens, 14. 77 degrees Fahrenheit over there, 14. This is heavy 14 coating, and it's heavy 7 coating inherently. So just too much to ignore. We'll see. Short-beaked echidna's diet consists mostly of ants and termites. So yeah, they are related to the anteater. The anteater is a very, we're gonna get into another one. The anteater is a highly, abused animal. Maybe this is another one. This is an abused anteater, maybe a small anteater. No teeth, so they break down their food by grinding it. Oh yeah, here. The echidna's feces are 7 centimeters. So apparently the echidna's penis and the echidna's feces are the same size. 3 sevens, 21. Did it all, right? We're rocking this evil animal shit, right? Fucking evil people, man. So animal abuse here. The echidna and the platypi. Hard to find. You can't see them mating. Browning coloration, electroreceptors. The 42 is another one here. While the platypus has 40,000 electroreceptors on its beak, the long-beaked echidna only has 2,000. These two are just hand-in-hand fake animals. So the 42,000, meaning of life, right? That's the answer. It's a fake animal. 33 degrees Celsius, so their favorite number. They fit that one in. The echidna one is just coated to the tits. It's coated all the way around. Oh, and right next to it, 91.4, another 14. They like freaking love the 14. 20 to 50 million years, a 7. It's insane. And obviously, a million years is a big fake thing. Echidnas are named after Echidna, a creature from Greek mythology who was a half woman, half snake. Interesting little allegory. So you're telling me it's like a serpent person? It's like a fake animal. And I think in this case you have a hedgehog. You have a few things. You could have an anteater. You have prosthetics involved, taxidermy. Hopefully that's not so bad. Obviously it'd be preferable if they just admitted it was fake, but I think you have a couple things going on here. I think you have prosthetics and taxidermy, and animatronics probably too. So dig into these things yourself. Try and come up with more stuff. But to go along with the anteater thing, right? We have the pangolin. And the pangolin is interesting because this is one of the apparent sources of our modern day hoax pandemic, right? Oh, it spread through the pangolin. It spread through the pangolin, right? And similar, probably most similar to the echidna. Echidna is a spined anteater. The pangolin is apparently a scaled anteater. And the anteater, in my opinion, is just a heavily messed with animal. I mean, they really are chimeraing this animal. And I wonder, things like the giraffe, for instance, it looks like a chimera animal, some weird camel horse splicing, going with the longest neck for a long time, only maybe killing off or just encouraging. Like they don't really care. They just want to create what they want to create. They're not going to care. They're going to kill things off to get what they want as fast as possible. And I think that the pangolin is simply an anteater with a disguise, evil disguise. They're wearing like a coat or taxidermy, or I think in some situations like this is just an art. Well, that looks more like taxidermy to me. This one looks like it's an actual anteater in a suit. But you guys be the judge. Hans has gone into the giant anteaters and how those are fake taxidermy projects. Another one here just looks really phony. Looks like it's a taxidermy project in a museum. Something off about it. The fur just looks so odd, like it wouldn't gel, and nothing has that in nature. It's just too much. And then here I think you have, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think you have, this is a genuine anteater. This looks genuine to me. That looks like more like the fur. That looks like real fur. Look at that. It's like all spiny. This is all soft to me. And then this is what I think they have going. They have this animal with scales, and that's your glue. What are they? I don't think they glue them, and maybe they have a suit. But yeah, you got your Sandslash, right? That's your pangolin. You got your Pokemon that's representative. You're gonna look into pangolins. You're like, oh, cool, pangolins, so cool. I live in such a cool world. I have fantasy pangolin. I live in, Pokemon's a big pusher of this evolution and really satanic media when you get down to it. A lot of them are demons. A lot of the Pokemon are demons. I'm making a video on that soon as well, because it's the biggest media franchise for a reason. So pangolin, let's dig into the literature a little bit here. Pangolin, sometimes known as scaly anteaters, they just tell you it's like an anteater with scales on it, are mammals of the order Pholiodota. Faux, like false as the French word. Maybe that's something to look into. I haven't dug into that at all, but faux, false. These species range from 30 to 100 centimeters, so that, I guess that's 4. But the interesting one here is the 12 to 39, because you have the 12 equaling 3, and then you have the first digit of the 39 being a 3, so that's kind of a little 33, and then you also have 12 to 39, that's a 27-inch, the difference, so 27 being the hidden, 33, 3 cubed. And these species range in size from 30 to 100. That could also be a 13 idea. So numerology coding there. And then what I think they'd be doing, like how like blatant they are. But the pangolin this is what they said was pangolin scales, and we'll go into what they say pangolin scales do. Doesn't this look like pine cones? It looks like the sheath, the scales of a pine cone. I think that's all it is. I think they based it on that, or I think they based it on it. I think it's totally based on the pine cone look, especially this variety. Like that is a straight up pine cone creature. This one looks more, I don't know, it's like a lighter, doesn't look as pine coney, but I dug into this aspect. This is kind of interesting. So we have that. Oh, here we go. So let's dig into more of the pangolin. This is ridiculous. So though pangolins are protected by... Oh, here we go. Pangolins are also hunted and eaten in Ghana, and are one of the more popular types of bushmeat, while local healers use the pangolin as a source of traditional medicine. So, okay, so this is interesting. The ones I've talked about thus far, I haven't really had a medicinal aspect, at least as far as I've dug. Though pangolins have protected by an international ban on their trade, populations have suffered from illegal trafficking due to beliefs in East Asia that their ground-up scales can stimulate lactation or cure cancer or asthma. And I specifically want to go into that lactation element later, but the cure cancer or asthma elements are totally worth looking into too. In the past decade, numerous seizures of illegally trafficked pangolin and pangolin meat have taken place in Asia. In one such incident in April 2013, 10,000 kilograms, you could do the 10,000, 10 plus 22 is 32, kind of a big number for them on the cusp of. But the 22 is also an 11. Of pangolin meat were seized from a Chinese vessel that ran aground in Philippines. In another case in 2016, what do we have there? So an Indonesian man was arrested after police raided his home and found over 650 pangolins in freezers on his property. Total bullshit. So this guy's apparently hoarding them for medicine or whatever, food, and it's an 11, 650. 6 plus 5 is 11. So the same threat is reported in Nigeria. And actually, sorry, on this freezer point, I had a neighbor, maybe a bullshit story, about keeping a cat in a freezer for ages. Just a weird correlation. Don't think it happens as often as it's reported. It's just a weird, creepy thing. The same threat is reported in Nigeria, where the animal is on the verge of extinction due to overexploitation. Overexploitation comes from hunting pangolins for game meat, reduction of their forest habitats. Okay. So then, the first record of pangolin scales occurs in Vivorium of Shenong's Classic of Materia Medica, which recommends pangolin scales for protection against ant bites, burning. So ants, anteater, right? burning the scales as a cure for people crying hysterically during the night. During the Tang Dynasty, a recipe for expelling evil spirits with the formulation of scales, herbs, and minerals appeared in 682. So that could be anything. You have the 682, that's 16, that's a 7, and 752, that's a 14, so 7 and 7, right? The idea that pangolin scales could also stimulate milk secretion, this is the interesting piece. In lactating women, one of the main uses today was recommended in the Wai Tai Miao Arcane Essentials from the Imperial Library. In the Song Dynasty, the notion of penetrating and clearing blockages was emphasized in the Taiping Shanghai Fen. So I think this is genuinely true, but let's bring us back to it's not true because the penguin's not a real animal, but in the sense that pine cones, this is such, like, look at that. Pine cones. Look at this specifically. This is them saying this. I think it's on Wikipedia. These are the scales. That's a freaking pine cone. That looks just like a pine cone. The pine cone scales. So what is pine cone extract used for? Used in skincare to help prevent sagging skin by strengthening lymphatic vessels. So what are lymphatic vessels? It drains fluid called lymph that has leaked from the blood vessels into the tissues and empties it back into the bloodstream via the lymph nodes. Draining fluid, draining lymph, it's definitely going to aid in your lactation, your breast secretion. It's going to make things easier for you. So if pine cone does that, they're kind of hiding that little factoid behind the fake animal, the pangolin. See how their weird shit works? You get like this little carrot of truth that pine cone extract is good for helping lactation, but it's all behind this fake animal and this fake abused animal. So this has been an interesting video, and I want to dig deeper into this. We live in a circus world where people seem to Dr. Moreau, these ideas, Mother 3, these are out here because they exist for a reason. There's a lot of vivisection and abuse of animals, and it's not just people in suits, it's not just puppets, not just taxidermy. I think there's genuine abuse going on right now. Of all of these ones that I went into today, I'd say the one I am most confident in is the zebra. I think that they are all fake, and I think the zebra is the most obviously abused. The Tasmanian devil, the paint, I mean, you could argue that is just as obvious. Technically they all are, but the zebra is just the one pressed the most. It's just pure evil to paint an animal. So again, I want to thank Snow Global Peel Coat. He is our light, and guest speaker, don't know her name, because this is a topic that I'm amazed. You guys need to point me to videos, point me to stuff, because this is pure evil. How are there not more people talking about this? We need to stop the animal abuse right now in all forms. And this means making this obvious that we know these are fake animals and this is what they're doing. So be strong and search for the truth and put all your faith in Christ, and don't be afraid to say things that are not in the realm of the media and just the popular consciousness at all, because that is a total farcical charade meant to delude you. You have to dig into things yourself, research things yourself. I did a bit of research for this video, but obviously I can do more. This is an introductory video on this concept, and I really hope more people join me on this, because I can't see it from all angles. I just brought in a few things, and we need to grow as a community. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and you see through to the beauty of this life that does exist on this earth, but it's amid tears, amid a lot of farcical behavior. Always seek for beauty and justice in these zany days. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day again, and God bless you all.